Iran has seized a Panama-flagged container ship in the Sea of Oman, while nuclear talks with Washington stall, and President Trump is now openly describing military options against Tehran. According to Al Jazeera, negotiations between Iran and the United States over the Strait of Hormuz have stalled after both sides introduced conflicting new conditions. Oil prices are surging in response to the diplomatic breakdown. The talks were already under strain when, on August 11th, Iran Wire, citing a U.S. official, confirmed that Iranian forces seized a Panama-flagged container vessel in the Sea of Oman after it ignored U.S. Navy stop warnings. That maritime incident is consistent with what analysts describe as Iran's pattern of using Hormuz pressure as a negotiating lever. The simultaneous seizure and stalled diplomacy represent a dangerous combination, with energy markets already reacting to the uncertainty. A Telegram channel citing direct quotes from President Trump, corroborated by an Italian defense channel, reports that Trump publicly described three strategic options toward Iran: doing nothing and allowing the regime to collapse under its own economic weight, pursuing a softer diplomatic approach, or continuing what he called economic strikes. Trump claimed Iranian inflation has reached 300%, that Iran's currency is near worthless, and that soldiers are going unpaid, framing the United States as, in his words, Iran's de facto financial controller. These statements, if accurately reported, signal that the White House may be shifting from diplomacy toward harder pressure. This remains sourced from Telegram and has not been independently verified by major wire services. Middle East Spectator reports that Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei is rapidly consolidating authority as Iran's new supreme leader, meeting with President Pezeshkian and other senior officials in recent days. Sources who have met him describe his physical condition as excellent and characterize him as diligent and assertive. This leadership transition is occurring simultaneously with the active Hormuz crisis, a combination that creates significant uncertainty about Iranian decision-making. Separately, according to Iran Wire, Mojtaba Hariri, head of the Iran-China Trade Chamber, has called for ending the U.S. maritime blockade, and this is a direct quote, "by any means possible, including by force or starting another war." He warned that rerouting Chinese imports overland could cost Iran up to $18 billion annually. That hawkish domestic pressure further constrains whatever room for compromise the new leadership might have. Open-source intelligence channel OSINT Warfare published imagery showing a Hajj Qassam ballistic missile decoy in western Iran that was reportedly targeted by U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. This is a single-source, open-source claim and has not been independently verified by major news organizations. If accurate, it confirms that the Iran confrontation has a significant kinetic dimension beyond economics and diplomacy, meaning active offensive operations against Iranian strategic missile infrastructure are ongoing, even as negotiations continue. This detail is important context. The Hormuz standoff is not merely a sanctions contest. On the Ukrainian front, pro-Russian Telegram channel 2 Majors reports that Russia's 36th Motorized Rifle Brigade seized the village of Novopol in Zaporizhzhia, breaking through Ukrainian defenses north of Kominarivka. Claimed Ukrainian losses include armored vehicles, ground robots, and heavy drone systems, figures that are Russian-sourced and not independently verified. Separately, the same channel reports Russian forces made advances across 20 directions in Sumy region, with gains of up to 500 meters in some sectors, and continued pressure around Vovchansk and Kharkiv. These claims are partially consistent with prior open-source reporting, but should be treated with caution, absent independent verification. The overall pattern, if accurate, suggests sustained Russian offensive pressure on multiple axes simultaneously. Geopolitics Prime reports imagery circulating on Ukrainian social media showing wreckage of a Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jet downed by a Russian Garand loitering munition over Odessa. This remains unverified by independent sources. Additionally, Ukrainian sources cited by Intel Slava report that Russia is now air-launching the jet-powered Garand 5 variant from Mi-28 attack helicopters, a new delivery method that would expand Russia's low-altitude strike options and complicate Ukrainian air defense geometry. The combination of a potential fixed-wing aircraft kill by a drone and a new helicopter-borne cruise missile platform represents a meaningful qualitative development in Russia's air warfare approach, if confirmed. A U.S. State Department official told Sky News Arabia that the Lebanese-Israeli negotiating track will resume in Rome in early September, with parallel talks continuing in Beirut, Jerusalem, and Washington in the interim. This confirms active U.S. diplomatic investment in stabilizing the northern front. However, conditions on the ground remain tense. According to Telegram channel Bint Jbeil News, the municipality of Zoetar al-Sharqiyeh issued an urgent appeal to the Lebanese state to halt Israeli bulldozing and house demolitions, stating all targeted structures are civilian private property. Israeli drones have also been active over Kafra encircling Beirut and the Dahiyeh district. Ongoing Israeli military activity ahead of scheduled negotiations risks raising the political temperature on the Lebanese side. The World Health Organization's Africa director confirmed that the Democratic Republic of Congo's current Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak began in February, at least 3 months before it was officially declared on May 15th, after cases were initially misdiagnosed as malaria or typhoid. According to Africa Intel, the outbreak has now reached 4,294 confirmed cases and 1,960 deaths, centered in eastern DRC. Health workers are reaching only approximately 30% of cases. No approved vaccine or recognized treatment exists for the Bundibugyo species of Ebola. The outbreak zone overlaps with active conflict areas, compounding the containment challenge and raising cross-border biosecurity concerns. Ribar Africa reports that Angolan police used tear gas and live fire against a UNITA opposition party rally in Uige province, wounding 31 people, including 10 critically. UNITA's Secretary General described the situation as, in their words, a state of war. Angola's ruling MPLA party faces general elections in approximately 1 year. The use of live ammunition against an opposition rally signals deepening political instability in a country that is a strategically significant southern African oil producer. This is sourced from a single pro-Russian Telegram channel and should be treated as unconfirmed pending corroboration from independent outlets. The Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, reports that troops identified and killed a Hamas sniper, posing an immediate threat near the Yellow Line in northern Gaza, where IDF forces are operating under an existing agreement. The IDF states forces remain deployed in accordance with that agreement and will continue to engage immediate threats. The incident is a reminder that despite any formal arrangements, armed clashes in northern Gaza continue, and the ceasefire framework remains under active stress from armed actors on the ground. Strategic assessment. First, the economic picture. The stalled Hormuz negotiations and active Iranian vessel seizure are already driving oil price surges, according to Al Jazeera. The Strait of Hormuz handles a significant share of global seaborne crude, meaning prolonged disruption would transmit rapidly into energy costs worldwide. Iranwire's reporting on the Iran-China trade chamber adds a second dimension. If maritime routes remain blocked, Iran faces up to $18 billion annually in additional overland routing costs, deepening an economy already described by Trump, in unverified quotes, as suffering from roughly 300% inflation and a near-worthless currency. Sanctions pressure appears to be intensifying, not easing. On political stability, Iran's leadership transition to Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, as reported by Middle East Spectator, introduces genuine decision-making uncertainty at the worst possible moment. A new supreme leader consolidating authority during an active military and economic confrontation with the United States may feel compelled to appear strong rather than conciliatory. Hawkish domestic voices, including the Iran-China trade chamber head calling for force, are audible and on record. Meanwhile, Trump's public expressions of frustration, cited by Telegram sources, signal that domestic political dynamics in Washington may also be narrowing the space for a negotiated off-ramp, and the wider geopolitical consequences. Open-source analysts assess that the current Iran situation is moving toward escalation rather than de-escalation. The simultaneous presence of stalled diplomacy, active vessel seizures, and reported airstrikes on Iranian missile infrastructure, per OSINT warfare, suggests the conflict is already multi-domain. The Lebanon-Israel Rome talks, confirmed by a U.S. State Department official to Sky News Arabia, indicate Washington is trying to compartmentalize these crises, but ongoing Israeli ground activity in southern Lebanon risks complicating that effort. In the next 7 to 14 days, watch for any U.S. naval response to the vessel seizure, whether Iran formally suspends talks, and whether the Rome-Lebanon track holds its September schedule as a signal of U.S. regional bandwidth. From stalled Hormuz diplomacy to a seized vessel in the Sea of Oman and drone warfare over Odessa, the convergence of crises this week demands careful, source-grounded analysis. If you want that kind of briefing delivered consistently, consider subscribing so you never miss an update. This brief is based on publicly available open-source information and is for educational and analytical purposes only.